10. I knew it'd be another 10.
Jack.
My name is Louise Biles and I'm 10 years old. I can see big things and I can see colour, I can see shadows. 5. Got 1. When I hold the car to my eye, I can see the blobs, I can read the numbers, but when I pull it away, I can't really see them anymore.
Oops.
Yes, my sister seems to be just a shape, really.
She was actually born blind. She was born with congenital cataracts and scarring on her retina. We didn't have any idea that there was anything going to be wrong. And actually found the next morning they found the cataracts on her eyes.
The reaction to having a handicapped baby is always one of guilt and shock.
For a week or a fortnight, I really didn't even want to go and see her. I was really very shocked. And then after she came out of hospital, I think I really just shut my eyes to it at first and just carried on as though something will happen. She'll have an operation and it will be sort of all right. And I think it took a good 2 years to accept.
Louise had 14 operations to try to save her sight. None was successful.
Nice Christmas. What's that?
Yeah.
A child who cannot see has to be taught what other children learn naturally by watching the world around them.
It's very hard teaching them the simple things, and those are the sort of things that if they don't do properly, other people notice, and it singles them out. So they have to learn to do the basic things sort of reasonably well, so they look as though they're doing them. As other people tend to think they're sort of stupid half the time.
We watched the Alien. Is it Alien?
Alien, yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's good. Get a nightmare. Mummy wouldn't let us watch it.
What was it?
Alien. I know, everyone else watched it that I knew. Apart from Ash.
She thought it was boring.
When I first had Louise, I used to find people totally ignored the fact that she was there. They were too embarrassed to ask me questions. People that I knew quite well often virtually stopped coming round to see me at times.
Whoops. No, I was wrong.
Well, I learned the piano by ear. Like my piano teacher would say the notes are D, E, F, and I'd play them. And then I'd learn the other hand and I'd put them together and learn the pieces like that. Sometimes my daddy helps me, like if I get the notes wrong of a piece that he knows, he'd help me, yes.
Okay. All right, you play your piece now. Okay.
Louise, do you want to come play Ludo? Louise, let Luce down. As well.
Ludo's my favourite brow game, and I like knocking people back and making barriers. It's quite interesting. Well, you know the difference between each other's pegs because they're different shape. One's cross, and one's a square, and one's a round. It's a special dice for blind children, and you can feel the dots and you can see them. Sighted people can see them.
No, thank you, Chantal. Right, if you can do that, we can do that.
Yeah. Now, hang on.
Sometimes my cousin cheats. She only jokes. I don't usually cheat. Or sometimes I cheat if other people are cheating.
No, it's not. It's a 2. Oi. That's got 2. Oh.
Initially, new friends or new children that she meets are put off by her eyes. They stand back a lot. But after half an hour, and they realise that she can mix in and do as much as they can, they get over it, and sometimes they're over-helpful with her.
Did you get there? She was there. Was she?
Thank you.
Look, I got a 5, a 5, and a 5, I think. How did she get right around there? Yeah. Right.
When our younger daughter, Katie, was about 1.5 years, Louise asked why Katie, who was younger, could see more than her. And then we realised that Louise thought, as she grew up, that she was going to come to see more. And although we'd explained to her before that she was blind, we explained to her again, I think she was that much older then and came to realise that normal children can see sort of from birth.
Well, every morning I go and get the letters. And I go with my sister and she reads the letters so I know who they're for, but I can't read them, so I can't really go on my own. I don't bump into anything when I'm cycling because I know the colour of the road and I can see the step. And I know there's grass on each side, so I know the colours really and the step.
Let's hang on a minute, wait for us.
I can only really ride in places I know well.
John?
Yeah? I'm just going to read the letters.
That's for Uncle Dave. That's for my daddy. And that's for Jeremy.
I'll take that one. Can you take them?
I will.
Who's going on the back?
Go on, you go on. You go on. You
on the bank.
It's a popular myth that blind people live in a world of total darkness. In fact, the majority have some residual vision, and by using their intelligence and experience, make use of it. Louise knows the area where she lives well, but if something isn't where it should be...
Where's the letterbox? Where? Where's the letterbox, Sean? Coming. Okay. That is
Just every just a bit.
Oh God, he's got it. He's got it. Oh no. He's trying to find it. Oh no. Oh God. I think we should have left it on the door. Alright. Rudy's got the letter. Rudy's trying to get the letter. Katie. Rudy's got the letter, Katie.
I think she's always accepted it pretty well because we've always told her the truth and not dwelled on it too much, sort of brushed it off as that's part of life and you've got to accept it and make the best of it. And if you don't go around feeling sorry for her, she's never seemed to feel that sorry for herself.
Louise is a day pupil at Linden Lodge School, Wimbledon. There are about 1,800 registered blind children and only 8 of these special schools in the United Kingdom. Most of the children here are weekly boarders. They'll start at the age of 5 and will remain in residential schools and colleges till they leave as adults. Whatever the educational advantages of this, the effect is to isolate the children from the community and from their families.
Sarah, go down with me. She'll take you to the playground. Sorry. Let's go to the... All right. Oh, you're right. Sorry, Lisa.
Mindful of the problems caused by boarding schools to handicapped children, the 1981 Education Act instructs local authorities, where possible, to produce schemes to integrate the children into ordinary schools. But is this really a possibility for most blind children? Their education requires resources, experience and skills that are barely understood outside the special schools, and may be very costly and difficult to provide for a few individual children in ordinary schools.
And make little pathways in the paint. That's right. Well, take your hands off it now.
Braille is perhaps the most essential special skill that needs to be acquired, and preparation starts as soon as the children arrive. Anne Brown teaches at primary level.
One of the reasons why we spend so much time on activities like this is that eventually, of course, the children are going to have to be able to read the Braille dots. So, of course, this needs highly developed sensitivity, and so as much practice in feeling textures and distinguishing one from another, obviously, is the preparation for being able to distinguish one set of dots from another. Blind children get very little usage out of their thumbs because, of course, they aren't holding pencils and pens and paintbrushes in the same way that sighted children are, so their thumbs very often are almost sort of useless appendages. So it's very important to devise activities where they will use their thumbs. The other more standard activities were for manipulative skills. They're fine skills where they have to fit things into each other and use a certain amount of strength. This is obviously more for strengthening the fingers and achieving some kind of dexterity with them rather than for sensitizing them and getting them to identify different textures.
Magic box, oh magic box, oh dear I love you so. Please open the box, and definitely let us know.
Goodness me, have you just made that up now, or did you think about it before? Oh, it rhymed very well, didn't it? So I try to relate at that very young age, where you haven't got the stimulus of lovely illustrations and all the gimmicks that other sighted children can feed off, as it were. You just have to use any kind of verbal stimulus you can think of, to say nothing of a touching thing which involved actually taking the things out of the box and feeling them and so on, and then connecting that somehow with your two forefingers, which are now going to produce the two dots, which are going to form the start of the word that you have discovered in the magic box. That our words begin with. Richard, what sound does your cup begin with? Ka. It's seeker. It's a seeker, yes. Was there anybody else who should have a seeker here? Should you have a seeker, Hayley?
Yes.
Nikki, how many dots can you feel on there?
2.
2 dots, yes. Hayley, how many dots can you feel on this little tile?
3.
3 dots. Now let's see if Richard can do a seeker on this paper as well. Can ladies ready?
Can I carry on with my dance now?
Yes, you carry on with your seeker dance. Just your twos and ladies. Give your twos and ladies a little dance and hop around as you were doing before. Just the thing. They actually tap their fingers and become very conscious of having 2 forefingers. And this was directly related to the Braille letter C, which is produced by pressing down 2 keys beside the spacer with the 2 forefingers.
Now, as soon as I'm in a hurry.
Well, lift your fingers up. Good. Now space with your fat gentleman and let's feel it. Can you feel the 2 dots you've made there?
Braille is a system which uses 6 dots for all the letters of the alphabet, numbers. It's used for special types of signs which are involved in Braille, such as Braille abbreviations. So they have a number of signs that they have to learn in order to read English, numbering something like 200 basic signs before they can actually read any book in the library.
Advanced Braille is taught by Nigel
The
Berry.
taxi took up its position outside the station. The taxi. In Braille, there's separate codes for all the different foreign languages, such as French or German. And in addition to this, there's a maths code, a science code, and a music code as well. P-O-S-I-T-I-O-N. Do you feel happy with that?
No.
No?
Because I put SIO in.
Oh, you did. Good. You recognised your mistake. Good.
All right, Lynn. Now we're taking in turns to read. And when I call... Yeah, well, it depends how you go, because some of you may...
Louise is in a class with the most able children of her age.
Start from when it begins.
The slaying of the
Slaying
Minotaur.
of the Minotaur. The truth is, this horrible Minotaur was not at all a pleasant pet to keep. Altogether a pleasant.
There are 6 children in the class, and the timetable includes maths, French, science, music, PE, and English.
Possibility that he might...
The class teacher is Leslie Gustafson.
Labyrinth and do no end of damage. Therefore, King Minos would really have been very glad to get rid of him. Nevertheless...
Louise can read at 120 to 140 words a minute. While this is fast for a blind child, it's about half the speed she would read if she could see.
The monster.
Carlo?
Ariadne beckoned to him to come out. The night was very still, save for the lapping of the waves on the shore, and Theseus could distinctly hear the heavy breathing of a sleeping Minotaur.
Louise and Carlo are not typical at all. They're particularly exceptional.
Carlo has always read a tremendous amount. He sort of has an insatiable appetite for books. I mean, as far as we're concerned, I mean, that's excellent, because as you know, Braille is a very difficult medium to work in. He's way above the average child in literary matters. Louise is a sort of a more all-round attainer. She's a very competent reader, very competent Brailleist, and she reads a lot. She's very interested in literature. She's also good at maths, and she's good at general mobility, and she's very presentable. She's not a typical blind child. Still asleep?
No.
How did you manage to do it?
The Minotaur jumped out on him,
Yes.
and he had a roar behind. That's what the roar was. It's right behind him, and he spun round before I could attack him. And first of all, there was a wrestle because the
yes, what between
Minotaur
Theseus?
sort of got because it sort of got hold of him and lifted him high up in the air and tried to strangle him. Because don't forget, it was a man. It did have hands like a man and that.
40% of the children at Linden Lodge have additional handicaps. The ability range is therefore very wide, and it's only possible to run a small number of O-level and CSE courses. When they're 11, however, the brightest children can try for places at the 2 grammar schools run by the RNIB. This elite group will go on to do O and A-level courses that could take them on to college and university places, and Linden Lodge will lose its most able children.
What did you
say? We all love Gregory.
We all love
Louise and Carlo have both been offered places at the grammar schools.
I'm glad I missed it. Guys, put me on the floor with everything to start patching me there. Carlo!
Justin kept on calling Carlo Gregory, and he wasn't very pleased. She kept on calling him Sissy Sarlo and Sissy Sarlo, so he didn't like it.
You're just gonna tell him I loved him and just come up and say, punching me in the head and put me on the floor. It's not very nice.
They like each other. But don't know why she does it. She likes him, but she just does it for the fun of it, I think. She doesn't do it for anything. She just likes calling people names.
Liz, there might be Justin.
Where's Justin?
Look, Carla, wouldn't you? Yeah, knock her over, punch her, and she fell down on the floor there. That was not very nice at all.
What did you say, Gregory?
It doesn't make any difference. She's a girl. You're a boy. You don't get boys pushing girls over like that.
Well, she loves you, wouldn't say it, would she?
Well, a lot of girls, I mean, I tease my husband. It's the same way, isn't it? I don't mean it when I
She
tease
does it
my
all the
husband.
time. She does it all the time.
Yeah, but you gotta
Do you accept his apologise?
I don't know now.
So you've really upset her now. Wouldn't surprise me if she doesn't speak to you anymore.
No, she don't.
I was only telling him that I loved him. I was only telling him, and he just started getting all in a temper.
No, you weren't. You were saying Gregory.
No, I weren't.
What?
Not just now, I weren't.
Now, we're going to go off in pairs. Carla and Justine are working together. Lynn and Louise are working together. And I'm going to give you lots of little activities to time. And we'll take it in turns, because as you know, we've only got one electric timer. And so, should we have Carla and Justine starting on the electric timer? Lynn and Louise. Most mathematical concepts are fairly difficult for blind children to grasp. Most of the important mathematical early skills are learnt prior to coming to school by the under fives. Normally, a sighted child would have the general experience at home of looking at pattern, looking at shape, sorting objects into various sets. But the blind child obviously doesn't have this visual stimulus, and so he does need a lot of direction from parents.
20, 29, 28, 26, 27, 25, 24, 23, 23, 21, 20, 19, 18,
It's got to be somewhere between
12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Do you know how many seconds you took?
You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah, Mark.
Seconds.
Get set.
30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20.
Everything seems to be a little bit more difficult for the blind child. Even the equipment seems to be slightly against them. We spent about, I suppose, 2 hours learning, for example, how to work a stopwatch and how to use the electric timer. Sort of small skills that would normally be picked up in a matter of moments. But because of the nature of the equipment, for example, the stopwatch is a very difficult item to actually learn to read accurately.
What is that, miss? Would you say? Is it 18? We don't know whether it's moved or not.
Louise, look at it. It's got all slime on it.
I think sometimes we're spoilt because we're blind. People feel sorry for us. But sometimes I think we should be allowed because we can't see the things and people can see them. And so we feel them, so we know what they're like as well.
Blindness undermines self-confidence, and the instinct of most blind children is to stay where they're safe. The adventure playground puts them into situations where they must rely on themselves.
Yeah, it's over the top of the bar.
How?
Come on, kick your leg right over.
Miss, can you help me?
Come on, stick your leg over.
Miss, come up.
Oh, wonderful.
Let's go down the pole
Do
again.
you want to go down the pole again? Now, mind those steps you fell over last time.
Which I nearly fell down again.
Ready?
Miss, where to?
Right, are we ready?
Miss, where do I go to? Don't let me have.
All right.
I might hurt myself. Miss!
At the end of the summer term, Louise left Linden Lodge and in September took up her place at Chorleywood College, the RNIB grammar school for girls in Hertfordshire. For the first time in her life, she will have to live away from home.
Good. You've managed to arrive at Chorleywood all safely.
How did I?
Lovely, Louise. Good. Mrs. Biles, good. Have you got things with you or not?
Yeah, we've got the trunk in the car.
I should think if we get it out, that would be the best thing. We can just slip the trunk in and then it can go up afterwards.
For the next 6 years, Louise will receive some of the best teaching available for blind children. She should do well, but special schools undoubtedly separate handicapped children from the rest of society. This isolation is just part of the price Louise will have to pay all her life because she cannot see.
Little drawers here. I think that will eventually go down to the cloakroom, so just put it in there for now.
Look, put the loop through there and that will hold it on if I keep knocking it off. Right, the loop through the top.
So, Miss Ridings, perhaps you'd like to take Louise down with her Perkins to the form room. Do you know where it is? Say goodbye to Mum and Dad first, haven't you?
All right then. All right then. I'll see you soon, all right? I'll bring you up.
Yes.
Okay, be good. Work
You know the phone time, do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're here from you on
Very
Wednesday.
good. Give us a cuddle. All right.
All right?
Bye.
Sure, Adam.
Okay, so you go
Bye-bye.
off with Miss Ridings with your Perkins. Perhaps you'd like to come down and see Miss Knox. She's waiting for you.
All right? Bye-bye.